Okay, if you're meeting me for the first time, my name is actually uh, Dr. Achievement. Good day, guys. My name is Dr. Achievement. Welcome to this amazing topic today. We're talking about carbohydrates loading. Now, what is carbohydrate loading? Carbohydrate loading is the increase of muscle glycogen levels more than 1.7 grams or 100 grams in the body. Normal amount of muscle glycogen level in the body is 5 grams in the body or 100 grams in the body. Okay, so when we increase the muscle glycogen grams above that level, more than 5 grams and 100 grams, it's known as carbohydrate loading. And this technique of carbohydrate loading is mostly done for sports personnel, like the athletes who participate in sports, because they need more energy most times in competition. Because if I have more energy compared to my fellow colleague who are competing with me, like let's say in aspect of long run, because I need it. So if I have that more energy compared to the person, then I will be able to have more advantage compared to the person in aspect of beating the person. It's like a vice versa case whereby we say an adult male of 20 years old, you can't bring an adult, teenage male of, like, let's say 10 years old to compete in a running race with that adult male of 20 years old, because the adult male of 20 years old have everything in a very stable function, like the muscles is more stronger, the muscles is more bigger, the legs and etc is more bigger. Well, let's say in a case whereby you bring an adult male of 20 years old and if you bring his age colleague, like we used to have some kind of certain sports whereby under 18 they play. So under 18, let's say under 18 football players of males of 18 years old, basically most of them are 18 years old. Now you're comparing each other, there will be no significant much difference, except if one set is training more than the other sets. But now if they both are training on the same level and there's no significant difference between them and they can participate in the same way. But if you bring a kind of cheat, there's a word called doping in athletes, like a kind of cheat system, like to improve the athlete's physique. Though carbohydrate is not fun among doping, but other doping techniques are there. So in this case, when you bring this athlete of 18 years old with his colleague of 18 years old, then you increase the carbohydrate glycogen level in their body, then they will be more stronger, more active to compete more better than their colleagues. And that's due to the increase of glycogen level, because glycogen is what brings the energy to the body. Glucose, we know, carbohydrates brings energy to the body. When carbohydrates is being stored, delivered, converted to glycogen, and glycogen is the glucose. Whenever we're taking carbohydrates, like in form of glucose, most times in athletes, we take it for energy. Okay. So increasing glycogen level in the body brings the athletes more and advantage just on area compared to the colleague. So now we're asking ourselves what is the major benefit of carbohydrate loading? More endurance capacity. See, unless the athlete begins competing. Okay, if the athlete is competing in more exercise, more than 60 minutes, they require normal. Unless athlete begins competing completely depleted, exercise less than 60 minutes require normal carbohydrate intake. But if you are competing more exercise, more intense exercise, you need carbohydrates intake. But it's not compulsory. It depends if you want to do or not. But this is just a cheat technique from we sports physio therapy. I won't advise my patients to do carbohydrate loading. Instead, I will advise my patients to train themselves perfectly and be the best version of themselves. No cheat system in my own policy. But this is a cheat system. If anybody wants to use this, it's very effective too. So what is the major drawback of carbohydrates loading? Each grams of carbohydrates stores to 2.7 grams, and water sees it as a heavy fuel. H2O makes heavy fuel. So each grams of glycogen stores 2.7 grams, and H2O makes very heavy fuel. Okay, so the carbohydrate loading can be divided into two stages. We have the classic loading and we have the modified loading. What is the classic loading? Classic loading, carbohydrate loading, stage 1, the depletion of the classic loading and the modified loading. Let me explain first before we go into how to perform them. Classic loading, if you notice, we have this depletion stage, we have the loading phase, and we have the day of the competition. But in the depletion phase, we just say we reduce the exercise to deplete carbohydrates level in the body. So in the stage 1, we are doing more exercise and the carbohydrate level is going down. And days 2, 3, and 4 in the classic loading, we maintain low carbohydrate food intake. We maintain low carbohydrate food intake 2, 3, and 4. Whereas in stage 2 loading phase, we maintain high carbohydrate intake and decrease our exercise intensity, though it was not written there. And stage 3, that is the completion day. So in this case, we are just doing it in a classic way, but we don't have any specific data in proving that okay, we are doing this 50% or we're measuring this intensity is there, this and blah 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 is that. Sorry. But in the modified stage, modified loading, carbohydrate loading, we do day 1 to 3, we do exercise at 75% of VO2 max. 75% of VO2 max means we are doing more intense. We have 100% of VO2 max, but if you're doing 75%, it's very intensive exercise like the other one. But we are measuring this. Okay, and 1.5 hours of exercise and 50% of carbohydrates intake. 50%. So we are measuring this in the modified stage, and in the classic stage we are not measuring. So the day 4 to 6, TAPA exercise. TAPA means lower exercise duration and 70% of carbohydrates intake. That means in the 4 to 6 we're increasing carbohydrate intake. Okay guys, this is just a brief lesson about carbohydrate loading. It's very important for sports physiotherapy to have the idea. Most times our athletes used to push us to do something more helpful to them. They will ask us, do this, help me, blah blah blah, and da da da, and you know, sometimes you can bring the idea of carbohydrate loading. It's nice, and I don't think it's considered as one of doping in football laws, but in sports laws. But it's nice to help boost their glycogen level in the body. Most times, the drawback is just the issue. Okay, so that water will not make heavy fuel and it could lead to some kind of issues to the body. But apart from that, it's nice. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you guys.